Looking ahead to the beginning of the school year with Clark County School District, which is August 8th. Can't believe it's already here. John Vellardita is here from the Clark County Education Association to talk about, from the union's point of view, the beginning of school, what teachers are dealing with. The last couple of years have been so challenging with COVID and everything else that's been going on. Let's just talk about what the expectations are from your end for the beginning of another school year.
Well, we are working with the district to make sure that we fill these positions that need to be filled so that classrooms have licensed professionals, and where they don't, they have at least a competent professional substitute in place so that we start the school year as best as possible. We're looking to make sure these schools are safe, given a lot of issues that have emerged just this past year around the safety issue. The COVID precautions that the district had in place in the past, they've been modified somewhat going into this school year, but they're still there because there might be, resurgence of the transmission rate of COVID. And then, of course, we're looking at, how do we try to recover lost education for a lot of these students that they experienced during the COVID.
We'll touch on a couple of those things in a moment again, but let's talk about vacancies within the staffing for teachers across the district. It's been an issue. It was addressed a lot and really was a concern and a challenge for CCSD, especially at the end of last year. It was talked about a lot. What is the vacancy rate right now? How short is CCSD?
Well, I think they went into this school year with a little over 1,400 vacancies, okay? And I think the district is probably close to 91, 92% filling those vacancy numbers as of this moment that we're talking. For example, today they have a new hire orientation with educators. They will continue to hire as the school year goes on, but I think they're proceeding to fill those vacancies. Will they fill all of them when the school year opens? No. That's why we'll have a need for substitutes.
Are you concerned, or should parents be concerned with the amount of vacancies within the district?
I think every parent should be concerned about what their classroom is going to look like for their student, whether or not they have a licensed professional or substitute. I can tell you we've just adjusted the starting salary for teachers. It's over $50,000. It's made a big difference in the district's effort to recruit. So we've seen a spike in hiring. So my message to parents is that, I think we're trying to work through the challenge. When I say we, I represent the teachers, but we're working with the school district and trying to accomplish that.
Another major issue that you addressed, school safety, the horrible situation at El Dorado High School last year. We saw the incident at Clark High School, Desert Oasis. There have been issues around the district. That's not necessarily new. It's a big district. Things happen. Just this week, the school district announced the addition of cameras on buses as a way to sort of help with school safety issues. Is it enough? What else should the district be doing?
Well, if anything ever happens, you'll find somebody who will say it's not enough, right? I think there's been a big wake-up call that we have to make sure that these campuses, these buses, these classrooms have secure environments that are safe for both educators and students. We've seen a rise of violent behavior in this school district, and culminating in the heinous crime that occurred at El Dorado. I think the measures that the district is taking right now are the right ones, and it's in the right direction. I think it's not a light switch solution, though. I think we're talking 370 schools, 300,000 kids. I think the district is on the path addressing the high need areas first and foremost. We're comfortable with that. Is it enough yet? No.
Legislative sessions on the horizon. What are some of the priorities for CCEA?
Funding.
As usual.
Well, it's more than as usual. The last legislative session passed a new funding formula, and it's based on student needs and equity, and it needs to be funded on an annual basis of $200 million more. And so that's going to be a challenge in the legislative session. If there's not resources, we can't talk about things like improving safety, things like having the appropriate staff in these schools. We got a big bump with federal dollars. That's what's been paying for some of this stuff. We need ongoing revenue, and most of that comes from the state. So that's a priority for us.
One of the ongoing questions, as you know, with CCSD, when things are of concern, people talk about we should break it up. A lot of the politicians running for some big offices around the state are suggesting at the bare minimum, looking at it. Your thoughts on that long discussed thought?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a well thought out thought, okay? I don't think it's a question of like creating 7 school districts. I think it's a question of let's look at the delivery system that you have now, which is 1 school district, make sure it's adequately funded, adequately staffed, managed appropriately by administration, and have an effective school governance model that makes sure that their primary objective is kids learn. And I think that's where our focus should be.
Final question here. End of the last school year, I think there was a perception in the community about acrimony at CCSD, on the board, with administration, with teachers, and that hasn't really gone away. It's been quiet for the last couple of months. It's been summer, obviously. How would you describe just the lay of the land from your point of view at CCSD right now, your ability to work with Dr. Jara and his team, to work with the school board members, and what you're hearing from teachers heading into this new school year?
So I would describe our relationship with administration as issue-based. It's very frank and honest and transparent. In other words, we don't try to get into the politics that might be seen on the school board. With the administration, it's about, hey, we have vacancies, how do we resolve it? We have safety issues, how do we resolve it? How do we try to retrieve lost education as a result of the COVID experience for all these kids, as well as dealing with the challenges our educators have, whether they're overworked and don't have the appropriate resources, or they themselves have had some, mental health issues because of the stress of COVID. We have an honest and I think transparent issue-based relationship with administration. With the school board trustees, I think that's a work in progress. I mean, we've been advocates since the last legislative session to look for a fix where we can have a much more efficient and competent and student-focused governing body here. We're going to pursue that.
So the narrative maybe that's out there of what is happening in the district and that there's just a lot of problems. Is that a fair narrative? Do you think that the public has the right grasp of what's really happening at CCSD?
I think the public has a grasp of problems as they see it, or if they're apparent as they experience. And I'm not going to challenge what their perspective is on it. I will say this: we have had in the last several years, we've reorganized the school district into a decentralized model and learning what that means. We've gone through 2 years of COVID and lost education and the challenges with that. We've introduced a new funding formula at the state level that tries to provide equity and need for students that's not properly funded enough yet. And we have a national shortage of staffing, starting with licensed professionals. That's not a school district issue. It's a national issue. It's a state and school district partnership that's going to be required to make that, solution happen for us. So I think that the bigger picture, I don't think everybody sees that. My job is to see the bigger picture, to try to find those solutions. But I think what somebody may experience, a parent may experience something happening in school, I'm not going to challenge their perspective on it. I would just add to her what the bigger picture is.
Fair enough. John Vellardita from the Clark County Education Association, with school approaching quickly here in Clark County. John, good to see you.
Nice to be here, John.